Hey, I'm Max Montrose of the Trichome Institute, and recently Chef Brandon Allen said, hey, I want to push some buttons, so put out this meme post that says, strain names don't matter, change my mind. And it did, it pushed some buttons, lots of buttons. There's 98 comments on it, and so I thought I would share some of the explanation behind this because a lot of people obviously don't know or understand interpening. It's really frustrating when a lot of people who comment on interpening constantly have never taken the course or read the book and demand that there must be science for it in order for it to be real. I'm so glad that I don't live in a world where in order for something to be true, someone else had to have thought of it first. How much would that suck? So interpening is an art and a science. And when it comes to the science of strain names, there is so much there that is important and positive and why strain names totally deserve to be named. So strain names definitely do matter. They matter a lot, actually. And in fact, we published it in our book, how much strain names matter. We give examples like Coyote Blue from Alpenglow Farms and why we love true genetics with true lineage, with true history that are grown by the same person in the same place, the same way each time, which keeps the trueness of that genetic, that strain. And therefore a name associated to that makes a lot of sense because it is what it is, right? So strain names definitely matter, 100%. And then strain names don't matter at all at the same time. And I'm going to read this one comment for you. At least this one wasn't a nasty one. This person did a direct message and said many things, but essentially they're saying, to what degree are strain names relevant in cannabis evaluation? It seems that Trichome Institute claims they both matter and don't matter. And as a philosopher, I take issue with holding two contradictory positions. Well, that makes sense in a lot of ways, right? That makes sense. What I would ask this philosopher to maybe do from a philosophical perspective is take your philosophy mindset out of the scholastic, university, textual place and put it on the street. Because unfortunately for Cinch Angel and many other people who are commenting on here, we're not talking about exact genotypes of exact genetics and these, of course those things deserve names. Duh. Come on. We're talking about weed, like in general, like sold on the black market, on the white market, medical, retail, in dispensaries throughout the entire country. And there's bubbles, there's pockets, right? And like the biggest pocket bubble where genetics that are the most real and the most true that deserve the most names and where names are going to become more and more important is around the Emerald Triangle, Oregon, Washington, really the Pacific Northwest. And so many people in those cultures are like, well, yes, our strain names matter. And there are, it's like, I know, I know, trust me, I know. What we're trying to explain to people is, from the street perspective, cannabis has been a black market thing for a long time. You can't say that someone didn't find a random seed in a bag of weed, grew it one time, had no idea what it was, and decided to call it Blue Dream or AK-47 or something because once they grew a couple pounds of it and they needed to sell it to someone, they're not just going to say, it's just some weed I found and it's really good, trust me, man. It doesn't work like that on the street, philosophically. So philosophically, when you need to pay your rent and you need to buy groceries and you have a pound of God knows what kind of weed, you really don't care, because if there's not a system in place like the regulated industry that forces you to have the proper name, you're not going to have the proper name. And the vast majority of the cannabis industry as a whole in the United States and globally, our position is the vast majority of genetics that are available the strain name most likely isn't what you think it is, and that most likely has more to do with morphology over time, more than people lying about the genetics. But of course, people aren't truthful about the genetics either on purpose because their weed sucks and they just need to sell it anyways, or they just really don't know, so they just made it up. There's so much of that. And so you can watch, we've said this throughout the entire of trichome's history. In fact, check out this 420 Science video from way back in the day where we're explaining this from the very beginning.
Is strains are kind of bullshit?
Yes and no. What's not bullshit is, the original OGs who helped create this industry. People who don't ever get recognized. The people who put these genetics together in Northern California or in their basements in the Midwest or wherever. When they created their original genetics, those genetics are real and they are true and they deserve respect.
Take a look at this leaf buyer episode where we actually go buy 6 different types of Blue Dream in Denver, Colorado, bring them back and analyze the inflorescence of each flower and show you how they're not all the same.
So the amount of times in the dispensary that as a bud tender I used to say, yeah, it's Blue Dream, even though it's not Blue Dream, was almost a daily thing. And so that's what's currently going on. So what I did yesterday is I went Blue Dream shopping.
Oh no.
Yes.
How did that go?
So check this out. From one store, I got 4 different Blue Dreams. From another store, I got some Blue Dream and another Blue.
And so that's what we're talking about. What we're talking about is from a patient perspective, from a customer perspective. If you're going in to buy something and someone's telling you it's Blue Dream and it just so happens not to be Blue Dream, well, then does the strain name at that point matter? No. In fact, it doesn't matter at all. What does matter? What matters is knowing, well, is the weed that I want to buy, that I'm about to buy, is it good quality or not? What level of quality is it? How do I know that? Because lab tests don't test for quality, they just chemotype. So like, is it ripe? Is it old? Is it fresh? Does it have bugs in it? Is it flushed? Does it need to be flushed? Those are all things labs do not test for. That's important to know before you consume this product. And then secondly, when I consume this product, what's it going to do to me? Because cannabis is a really versatile drug substance that can either be a stimulant or a sedative, or somewhere in between. Or cannabis types can be psychoactive but not intoxicating at all, such as hemp types, or slightly intoxicating. And so from that respect, interpening helps people say, well, if I'm in a position where I don't know the strain name or I can't trust that the strain name is real or true, because I'm either buying it on the black market or maybe in Denver, Colorado, and it's just some weed at a dispensary, then if you can equip yourself with interpening methodology to know how qualitative it is and where on the spectrum from stimulating to sedative it will be and how intense that will be from a potency perspective, then that's going to be helpful. And so interpening is helpful in that way. Because it's not the same thing as wine. If you go in for a Merlot, you're going to get a Merlot. In Denver, Colorado, if you go in for Blue Dream, you might not get Blue Dream. So that's, in that sense, the strain names don't matter. And then in all the other senses, strain names definitely matter. So that is our official position. It is both ways, unfortunately, because that's just kind of how the nug crumbled.
Colorado, you have 250 types of Blue Dream because 249 of them aren't Blue Dream. And so when you're a medical patient and you go to these websites or apps that tell you this is what the strain will do to you, right, that's when things get scary. And so what interpening does is we say the thing that matters the very least about what you're purchasing is what it's called. It's just a name. And so how can we tell how this bud is going to affect us? Interpening helps users, whether you're medical or retail, whether you're black market or legal market, understand qualities and properties of the bud to be able to break down how it will affect you psychotropically 9 out of 10 times.